Ladies and gentlemen, public, would you all stand and rise to salute the flag? You should have sat down, hon. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. A little ahead of myself on that one. Good evening. This will be the zoning subcommittee. Tonight we're going to be taking up two issues before us. One of them will be regarding the digital billboards. The other one will be dealing with 14 Hutcherson. And with that said, I would like to commence with the, I said digital billboard, but the new billboard ordinance. At this point, Madam Clerk, would you mind not reading the text of the ordinance, but the summary, if you would? There's no summary? Okay. So basically, for the past, I would say, year and a half or so, or maybe a year, the Beautification Committee, Frank Stringy, our city solicitor, and other people have participated in changing the zoning, in particular regarding billboards. They have done a very, very successful job in doing so, and in fact, I want to personally applaud them for it. We also have an amendment here that is being asked by Carlo Di Maria, who I must disclose is a dear personal friend of mine. But that said, it has no bearing on the issue at hand. First and foremost, the issue regarding the amendment I'd like to address first, and I'd like for the council to, the members to hear it. And before I do so, I do want to take a moment to have roll call for those members that are here. Councilor Guanasso? Councilor Rizzo?
Here.
Councilor Patch?
Here.
Councilor McKenna? And Councilor Novoselsky. We do have a quorum with 3 members. I did want to recognize the other councilors that are here. With that said, I'm going to read the amendment, and then I'm going to ask our city solicitor to opine on this.
Mr. Chairman?
Please go ahead.
I don't see why we have to deal with an amendment. A lot of time has been spent to do this ordinance, and I'd like to make a motion that we just vote out the new ordinance without any amendments.
That's perfectly fine. How does the rest of the body feel about that? Councilor Rizzo?
Mr. Chairman, while I respect, obviously, the mayor of the city of Everett and actually would love to see more billboards come down, after looking through the alternative proposal as compared to the hard work that's been done with the city and with the Beautification Committee, I'm going to stand where I was initially, and that is to support this ordinance as is. That again, hard work has been put into, and I think it does protect the city down the road from any future billboards that we've had to deal with over these last many decades. So I'm going to be standing firm, Mr. Chairman.
I absolutely agree. Does anybody else wish to speak? Councilor Guanasso.
Mr. Chairman, I also had the pleasure of being a member of that committee that worked feverishly to try to do the right thing for our community in terms of billboards. We worked painlessly, and we had months of discussion regarding this. And as much as I have the highest regard for my neighbor over in Everett, Carlo, I also include him as one of my friends. But I also have to bear in mind that the effort that went in by the Beautification Committee was about as second to none that I've seen in the community actively getting involved in an issue as that group appeared. They worked painlessly to do the right thing for our city. It would be foolhardy for us to do otherwise, other than to accept their efforts and show our gratitude to that hardworking body and support their amendment to our community and show our citizens that We are working with our neighbors within our community. We're working with neighborhood groups. And when there is a issue that comes forward that's beneficial to each and every one of us, then we ought to pay attention to that. And in this particular case, I think they came with a very fair ordinance. I think it's one that we can all live with. And I look forward to voting favorably for the ordinance as submitted. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time.
Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also echo the sentiments of my counselor to my right. I was on the committee, too. We worked about 6 months on this. We wrote it and rewrote it, and finally we came up with a final draft. And I would like to see this passed tonight, so I'm in favor of this, too. Thank you.
Personally, folks, for me, it's a very simple issue. Looking at the amendment and having full glance of it, it gives the appearance that we were able to remove 4 signs for 1. And after speaking to the city solicitor, due to the uniformity clause, that is something we cannot accomplish. But more importantly, to undermine what was provided to us by city councils, and for that matter, the beautification committee. That's a very tough thing to do, personally or otherwise, because the work that they put into it, the time, the effort, the magnitude, it wasn't just 1 night or 2 nights, it was a plethora of time. So my sentiments are with my fellow councilors, but more importantly, I support them in this effort. With that said, I'd like to give the opportunity for Mr. DiMaria to say his piece.
I believe that's out of order, Mr. Chairman. There's a motion on the floor here to vote this out of committee without any changes.
Could I just speak on the motion? Is that allowable?
I'm asking,
I agree with the ordinance.
I asked
I think
the
the
clerk,
ordinance
is
is
this
a great
allowable?
ordinance.
The city council, it's up to the call of the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate the time, and also that you recognize me as the mayor next door, but I don't want to be recognized as the mayor next door. I'd like to be recognized as someone who's been in business in the city of Revere for over 20 years, and who's been a part of this business community, not just as just a business doing business, but someone who's given back to many causes, from the Jewish War veterans to the Pop Warner organizations to Little League to the churches in the city. And I would also be, if the beautification committee would want me to be part of their team, I would love to be part of their team also. I think the ordinance is great, and you should pass the ordinance. I'm asking that the amendment to be looked at further, not tonight, maybe another day. I'm not looking to any special treatment. What we're proposing tonight is something that will help you get rid of some of your billboards in the city. Having 96 billboards and knowing a little bit now about the billboard business, they won't go away. A lot of them, you see these paper billboards in the city that are on Broadway, Revere, don't even have agreements anymore. Clear Channel has claimed bankruptcy, going out of business. Some of these billboards, some of these guys are just waiting for another company to come in and do a deal with them. We could, with this ordinance, and I differ, my opinion differs with the city solicitor, saying that you're not able to make it a policy that if someone were to be granted a digital billboard, that you would have to remove X amount of billboards in the community. My opinion differs there with the city solicitor on that. I think that you can do that. And I think you can also make it a special permit. Not realizing that all of Broadway is in this district, I would not want to see a digital billboard on Broadway Everett, nor would I want to see a digital billboard in Broadway Revere.
Mr. Mayor, I got to correct you. All of Broadway is the GB district.
I said that. That's
Okay.
what I said. I didn't realize that all of Broadway was in the GB district, and I would not want to see another billboard on Broadway Revere or Everett. But if you also have a caveat that it be special permit and it be part of the city council's authority to rule on it, in that maybe the business owner got the surrounding residents in the area in support of it. My billboard is on Squire Road. There are residents behind me, but the billboard would face on Squire Road only, not towards people's houses. I know some people say they could see the billboard from their home, but they would see a structure, a side of it. They would not see the face of it. So I don't want to belabor this. at all. I would like to, I guess I would have to get a city councilor to sponsor the amendment to this ordinance going further. Like 14 years prior to being mayor, I was a city councilor. And we had many ordinances where we would write amendments to ordinances later. I'm sorry,
Just one more minute.
oh, I'm sorry, 5-minute rule has been invoked. But that's all. I want to thank you all because I've talked to you all a lot about this, and hopefully I can sit down with you after this is passed and sit down with the beautification committee and work with them on trying to eliminate some billboards that maybe some eyesores that they do not like. Maybe I could try to get rid of them for them. I don't know if Corey want to say anything, but again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I appreciate being a business owner in the city for many years. You've all been very supportive of me, and I appreciate that.
I think I'm going to finish up with the roll call, Corey, and I appreciate that. I'm going to limit any more conversation. With that said, I want to thank Councilor Patch and my fellow councilors for extending the courtesy to a fellow elected official. I think that's the proper thing to do, as well as it would be for any other person to let them say their piece. But that said, I'd like to take a roll call with first the members and then extend it to those that are currently here. Councilor Rizzo,
On the ordinance?
on the ordinance presented to us by the Beautification Committee and our city solicitor.
Yes.
Councilor Patch,
Yes.
Councilor Granasso,
Yes.
Councilor McKenna,
Yes.
Councilor Novoselsky, and I am a yes. This will be presented out of committee affirmatively. In my absence, I would ask that Councilor Rizzo present this accordingly as the report. Thank you. The next would be 14 Hutchinson, and if I'm not mistaken, that is in order to provide a right RG to be GB. And that we basically vote on what is presented in the file accordingly, which is, I mean, quite frankly, I don't know why we're voting on this at this point. If you could...
Unfortunately, Counselor, the matter cannot be voted on this evening. The 90 days have surpassed since the original public hearing date. City ordinances require that a new public hearing shall be held.
And that's
If
my,
the ma-
so I think at this point, we'll have to wait for a new filing and go from there. With that said, that will be the end of the zoning subcommittee. I do want to make a point to congratulate and thank Ms. Haney and Ron and the rest of the people within the beautification committee for your great work, for your steadfastness, and I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. That'll be it.